Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 277, Furious 7, Lap 12. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe 2, and this episode's brought to you by Shaw Development. Shaw offers both stainless steel and cross-linked polyethylene diesel exhaust fluid reservoirs in a variety of shapes and volumes to meet your needs. Shout out to Shaw Development.
Well, shout out to Shaw Development. Welcome, Shaw Development. I gotta, if they're paying us
I know.
$1 million, they're paying us. I gotta say their name correctly.
Exactly.
But shout out to them and shout out to our patrons. Because, Joe, I think we're making history today.
Okay.
I think this is the first time we've ever had two different patrons on the podcast on the same episode.
Yeah, that
is that true?
That's
well,
very
I mean,
true.
probably, maybe, but here. I mean, you heard a voice, and you know who else is here. And we've also said it. It's not a surprise. But shout out to Cassie Wilson, Ben Milliman, Nick Burris, Alex Ellen, and Justin Kleinman. Guest number one, drum roll, please. Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber Party. Haley Gerbies, Wes Hampton, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke, Hayden Renato, D. Donato, Michael McGann, Lane Middleton, Lindsay Lewandowski, Nate Milton of the Kings of Sport, Jason Rainey, Tom Price, Mike Gallier, and guest number two, Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Montez. Thank you all for supporting us at the $5 a month level or above, and thank you both, Brian and Montez, for being here this evening. Welcome to the show.
Charmed as always.
I'm ready to disappoint everyone.
Well, Montez,
Okay.
we're going to start early and hit us with that sweet, sweet Montez minute.
Okay, here we go. Wait, what order am I supposed to be saying these?
1, 2, 1, 2,
1,
4,
2,
5,
4, 5,
6, 3.
6. Shit. Okay, hold on. 1. Okay, 1, 2.
You're gonna need 6 pages of paper to write this down.
Jesus
Yeah, you know
Christ.
the order that we recorded them in over the last 18 weeks?
Nah, I don't remember it. I don't remember what I have for breakfast this morning.
Wait, Brian, do you know about the Montez minute? Have you been listening to this lap or no?
I am familiar with it from the summaries that I read, but no, I haven't been listening to this lap, and I'll tell you why when I see you again. No, when when I talk about this movie, because I'm excited to talk about this one, but we'll get into it.
Okay. Well, Montez,
All right,
please.
wait. 1, 2.
Oh my God. 4, 5,
She had to
6,
flip
3.
the page.
So we now know that 1 and 2. You said 3 pages, Joe. I think, right? So 1, 2
Yeah,
is 1 page. Yeah.
exactly.
4, 5, and then 6, 3. Yeah. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 3.
All right, ready?
You haven't even begun yet, and Montez is lost her mind. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Ready?
Yes.
All right.
And go.
1, we meet Brian and the gang. It's the whole love triangle's origin story.
Yes.
2 is the worst villain ever, Carter Verone, and a very hungry Roman.
Okay.
I knew that was going to rile Brian. Go ahead.
That pisses me off.
3, which is 4.
Nope. Yep.
Yeah. Somehow Brian made it into the FBI.
Yep. Yeah. Good point.
Well, maybe. He's in the
Yeah.
DOJ, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. 4, which is 5. Introducing Mr. Hobbs in the era of boy.
Oh, wait, so you mean Fast and Furious, the 4th movie, is just
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Brian taking tests to get into the FBI. That's the entire movie, what
No,
that's
he,
about.
like, somehow he got into the FBI and he sucks.
Okay. 4, which is 5.
4, which is 5. Introducing Mr. Hobbs and the era of boy, woman, and son.
Okay.
And some weird facial hair.
Boy, woman, and son. Okay.
Yes. Those are the quotes that I have. 6, 5.
I can't even possibly, I guess that's Vince? Unclear whose son is, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't. No, he calls Dom son.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Montez, this is the worst one yet. Keep going.
I know, I'm doing it. 5, 6, the one where Letty isn't actually dead. And then,
This
6, which is 3.
Mhm. Yeah,
Fake
just have to do this one. Just have to do this one. Yeah.
Fake high school student Sean learns how to tell time.
Okay.
And also there's a great drifting montage.
Yeah, Drift 8. Okay. Yeah, that was terrible, Montez.
Thank you.
We did good. No, I mean, it's a lot to ask. She did it quick, though. We had, like, one highlight from each one. I like that. I think it was a good showing, Montez. I appreciated it.
I'm gonna try to do better next time, but I'm not making any promises because I know I'm not gonna deliver.
Well, you realize that each time you do this, it gets progressively harder because you have to do another movie.
Yes, and I purposefully do not keep my notes from the last time so that I have to start from scratch every time.
Wait, do you throw them out?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Full on chaos energy. I'm telling you.
Well, okay. I guess so. Okay. So we have before we talk about the movie, before we talk about the Dom moments, so on and so forth. We have 4 different questions here in the either or. Brian, I need to see if you. Oh, you've answered 3 of them.
Okay.
But you have a question to answer here as well, Brian. But Montez, you got 4 questions here. Are you ready?
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay, first question. Question number 1. Either or. Montez. Corona or Belgian ale?
Belgian ale.
Okay. Brian, do you remember your answer?
I don't, because those, like, Mexican beers and Belgian beers are my 2 favorite types of beers. For crushability, I would, for different reasons. But I don't know. What was my answer? I'm assuming Belgian, but I can
No.
go.
It
Okay.
was Corona.
Yeah, I figured that, right? Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
Tough
Montez.
question, though. Jeez.
I know. Hard hitting. All right, Montez. Last movie that came out in theaters, but not the last movie we covered. So think 2 back when they take down the world's largest airplane, the world's longest runway, right? They drive cars into the plane. This movie, there are cars driving out of a plane. If you have to, knowing you are safe either way, would you rather drive your car into a plane as it's taking off or out of a plane while you're in the sky, knowing either way you will be safe?
I mean, if I'm gonna be safe, I'm driving out of the plane.
Okay.
Ooh, adventurous.
Brian, do you remember your answer to this one?
If I answered it, I'm probably in the plane, because there's no way I'm going out of the plane. I am Roman in this movie, by the way, when it comes to falling and stuff.
Even
Heights,
knowing that you're going to
do you
be
hate
safe,
heights too?
even knowing you're safe.
You're safe on roller coasters. You're largely safe bungee jumping. I don't do any of that shit.
Really?
I'm not afraid of heights. I do not like the sensation of falling. I've gone on a bunch of roller coasters. People are like, no, you'll love it. And I get off and I'm like, I did not like that. So I'm going in the plane and we're flying somewhere, maybe to Goa, maybe wherever, but I'm not going out of the plane.
Yeah, you did say into a plane last time. You and Joe both into planes. Me and Montez, the bad boys, of the podcast. We're out of the plane, baby.
Yeah.
All right, Montez. So in this movie, there is a scene wherein Roman has to distract an entire room full of people, and he sings "Happy Birthday" to Tanya. We are conducting a heist, the 4 of us, and me, Joe, and Brian are like, we need to go in the other room. Joe needs to lift up his car. I need to get under the car. Brian needs to tweet about it. We need you to distract this entire room full of people by shining bright. Like only Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Montez, can. We need you to shine bright. We need you to sing a song karaoke style. What song are you singing to distract a room full of people so that Joe, Brian, and myself can conduct a heist?
Proud Mary by Tina Turner, complete with the dancing.
Nice.
Ooh,
I like
nice
it.
choice. Nice choice. Yeah.
Have you done that at karaoke before? Do you do karaoke?
I don't do karaoke unless I am incredibly wasted,
Okay.
but I do sing that very loudly and dance at the stoplight. So
Oh, okay.
That's
And
more
I do that
Fast
in-
and Furious.
in my house. So
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Now, this last question.
Wait, did
the
I
fourth
answer
of
that
4.
one?
Yes. You remember your song?
I'm assuming Purple Rain.
No, you did Danza Kuduro.
Oh, of course. I mean, for this podcast, yes. But Danza Kuduro is hard in karaoke, I can tell you that
Yeah,
much.
it is. All right. Now, the final question. This is for both of you. And I don't know, Brian, I'm sure we've gotten your answer on this. We might have even gotten Montez's at some point. But in this movie, we are introduced to the most important, the most influential, the most game-changing of Fast and Furious characters. A character by the name of No Knees Denise.
Yes.
If you hear someone being described as No Knees Denise, No Knees Brian, No Knees Montez, whoever, what does that connote to you? What does someone having no knees mean? Montez, we're going to go to you first.
I feel like this is. Should have thought about this. I knew this was coming.
Brian, do you have an answer? You can wait. Montes can wait if Brian, you have an answer.
I've answered this before, and I don't remember what I said. And I'm trying
Neither
to
do
be
I.
consistent.
I don't have an answer written down. New year, new you. What's 2023 Brian Rodriguez of Twilight Forever, of Uncle Francis's Wine Cellar,
The thing is, like,
of Third Time's a Charm?
I'm trying to get context for what he, how it's referred to in the films, and it's not like what I originally thought.
He says the only thing I've seen you take down is no niece to niece at prom. Full context, only context.
But he's not saying it in like a positive way, so
I had a new thought about this, but I want to hear your thoughts first and not completely.
Yeah, don't taint the water yet. I want
Exactly,
to hear your
yeah.
thoughts, but yeah.
I don't know. No knees. So if you had no knees, I mean, I'll say this. I've never said this one before, but I assume it's the way that someone walks, right? Like, maybe. I mean, I'm not applauding this, but maybe there's some kind of handicap or disability of some sort, and they're just not politically correct and making fun of Roman for being, looking past that bullshit superficial reason and being like, you know what, Denise is a good person. I'm going to dance with her at prom. That's how I see it.
I'm gonna take her to prom.
Sure, take and dance. It's not. You don't take someone to prom and not dance with them. That's not
Exactly.
That's the kicker there.
Montez?
I feel like whatever I could say about Denise is going to be mean.
Oh,
Well, that's
fair.
okay. I mean, it's not good, but it's okay. What is it?
It's not you saying it, by the way. You didn't call her no knees, Denise.
Sorry to Denise. Maybe she is so large that she has no knees.
But I feel
Yeah,
like you would really need knees though if
But
you
like
were that large,
sometimes,
right?
sometimes when you see people's legs, like they're literally just like it's just a leg, like a log, like straight from the hip to the
Oof.
ankle, like it's
Ooh,
all
yeah.
one thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're actually right. I haven't thought of it that way, but that's probably what they're talking about.
I had a
Denise.
new thought this time, and just as like Joey was reading it this time, I was thinking, what if they're saying no knees, and we were like hung up on her being on her knees or being so large she doesn't have knees, but in reality, what they meant was that she didn't have any knees. Like she's very short, and she's just like a very small person.
I was thinking that. I just don't think that they would say it with that connotation, like, "Oh, you took a short girl to prom." Like, it just feels very like what?
I think it feels better though. Like I like when I was hearing it that time, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pretend like that's what it is because that seems like the least offensive denominator. Like
Okay.
you just took a short girl.
So somehow, that is the most flattering depiction of no niece Denise, and also makes Brian and Roman look meaner than they've ever been before.
What?
Because it's like they're even making they're so far above everyone that they're just like, I can't even associate with short girls. Like, it's not like she's deformed or she is, how do I say, like, a woman of the evening or something, in terms of her prolificness. It's just like she's short. Like, it seems like they're even more petty or something.
Like very
Yeah.
shallow. It makes them
Yeah.
very, very shallow.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yes, yeah. Interesting. Okay, I think that is the most positive,
That's like I think that that's
interpretation
the
we've had.
the best spin I can give it to be like, oh, like, because Roman's really tall and like maybe he only dated tall girls.
Yeah.
And then like one time because he took Denise to prom and she was
Yeah.
real short,
Okay.
they made fun of him.
I don't hate it.
This was it's on a couple websites as I Google, and I'm sure you Googled it, Joey. It's on a couple websites as like a warning to parents that a character is named No Knees Denise, and it's labeled
What?
sexual content.
Are these like Christian websites? Like what
Like
is...
I opened a couple tabs. The one I'm looking at specifically right now is this movie suitable.com. So, Joe, if your mom was like, should Joe watch this movie? She
Yeah.
might go to maybe that could be your sponsor for the next episode or something. But is this movie suitable.com? So
I wonder. So remember last episode, Joe, we were talking about maybe last episode, I don't know, sometime recently, we were talking about movie ratings. We were talking about like sensible ratings on IMDb. I wonder if No Niece Denise is listed on IMDb's.
Oh, sensibility scale? Like, as warning, there's a No Niece Denise in this movie.
can I give you the scores for?
Look out. There's a No Niece Denise. Yeah, go ahead.
These are the scores for is this movie suitable.com. Violence, 3 out of 5, which I think it should be more.
There's
Emotional
no blood, though. I was thinking that as we
Fair.
were watching it. There's not, like, the guy falls down the cliff and his body just kind of ragdolls with, like, no blood at
knees.
all.
It like
No knees.
compared to a horror movie, you're right. So I'll take that back. Emotional distress. It's okay. Everything's out of 5. What do you guys guess? Emotional distress.
3.
Correct. 3 out of 5. Fear factor. What's the fear factor out of
4.
this? 2.
3. Yeah, it's not super scary. I think the cliff scene and then
But I
maybe
was
the
rating it
helicopter.
as this Christian website. So.
I know.
So it's by the way, for that one, it says Deckard Shaw is relentlessly aggressive and a violent
God.
antagonist, but doesn't
Okay.
do anything that's unnecessarily cruel. So it should not be too frightening for kids.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. What other categories are there?
Sexual content. There's only a couple more. Don't worry. Sexual content.
1.
4.
3 out of 5, and
It
specifically,
should be a 4.
there's 2 things. One, No Niece Denise, as I mentioned.
Really?
Okay.
Okay.
One character is being made fun of, and there's a reference to a girl he went to college with, which is not true. Nickname No Niece Denise. And the other, negative part, I guess, someone describes a very expensive and stylish car, and another character jokingly says that he is aroused by it.
So on IMDb, the parent guide, they have sex and nudity, violence and gore, profanity, alcohol, drugs, and smoking, and frightening intense scenes. There's 5 different things. For sex and nudity, 72 of 127 found it mild. Their mentions here are a couple scenes, close-ups of women's underwear and bikini wear, a lot of female cleavage, and then a spoiler. In one scene, Brian and Mia kiss passionately.
Oh.
So it's mild. So IMDb is much more progressive, I would say, than is this suitable.com.
This is clearly a Christian website because which is whatever, that's okay. But bad language. What do you think it got?
5.
This
4.
This IMDb says moderate. I'm going to say 4.
4 is correct. Almost
Yeah.
constant mild to moderate cursing and blasphemy, which is impossible.
Blasphemy.
Impossible to avoid.
A few uses of shit and bitch, several uses of goddamn, one use of fuck.
Oh, that's the blasphemy. Goddamn is the blasphemy.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was like, this is like, Vin makes the most religious versions of movies ever. Like, there's like, it's a big cross in it. Like, Jesus, the
Family, yeah.
I mean,
a
he is
family.
Jesus, right? Yeah, it's exactly, yeah. So
So 2 more
he
categories
comes
here.
back from the dead here. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
2 more categories here. So dialogue. What do you think it was on the bad scale?
Montez, I want you to guess first.
Um,
You live in a very Christian town.
ugh, I know. I'm gonna say 4.
Dialogue in general?
Well, there's like a lot of sexy, like talking about sexy things, talking about a lady being hot. I think they get steamy about that.
Montez
But I'd
says
say 3.
4.
I
I'm
say
going to
3.
say 3. Yeah.
0 out of 5. No notes.
Wow.
No notes.
Wow.
And
I don't understand what the category means then.
Yeah, same.
So the last category is just other notes, things that the author of or whoever's grading feels the need to tell us, good or bad. So if you agree, great. If you don't, whatever. Deals with themes of teamwork, family, friendship, not taking life for granted, love, but also revenge. And it deals with doing what's necessary for people you care about. So overall, that's pretty Christian, most of that stuff.
It's thematically like right there. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Okay.
I'm going to look at
Pretty
this
good.
website more often.
Montez, do you think your town would approve of this movie?
Well, we've already talked about my town's use of this god-awful song at the end of this
Oh,
movie.
right. Yes.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes, you think?
Yeah.
All right. let us dive into Furious 7 talk by starting with the question that is sweeping the nation.
Yes.
What is the most Dom moment in Furious 7? Which is, by and large, the Bryant movie. But what is the most Dom moment? Montez, hit us with one of those sweet quadrants or notes or whatever. Most Dom moment.
Okay, so I have when Mr. Nobody says, "I carry my own health insurance."
Okay.
Oh, I thought that was going to be in the rating of the Christian website, that they were like very pro non-single payer, like that there's a lot of healthcare involved in this, seemingly all paid for by different people. So I thought they would be really excited about that.
Well, you know that the woke mob is now coming for your Xbox, right? So I don't know. I hope you know that like nothing is sacred. Now the woke mob
And
wants
Damar
you to.
Hamlin is actually dead because he got the vaccine, and they walked out a body double on Sunday to be in the stands.
Of course. Okay, so Montez, you think him saying something about health insurance is the most Dom moment? Why do you think this? Because frankly,
Dom cares about health insurance a lot.
frankly, it's an insane answer.
When you put it like that, it sounds so stupid.
Montez, I didn't
Look,
put it
okay,
anyway.
listen.
I repeated what you said.
Just some clarity, lady. That's all.
Okay, look. In all fairness, I watched this movie 3 times in order to prepare for today,
Okay.
Okay.
and I only remember 4 scenes.
Montez,
I've had a long history of forgetting giant chunks of this movie. So like in that sense, I also don't fault you. I'm with you. There's like, I mean, we've watched it, how many times? 12 times now. And
well, plus for Nate's show.
plus for Nate's show, and there was like, and not too long ago, I was like, oh yeah, Brian does kick him down the elevator shaft. I remember that now.
We
Okay,
talked about that like 4 or 5.
That's what I mean. Yeah, like it was like, but it was like, I eventually got to a point where I was like, that's where he says that. Too slow. Yeah, I got it. I remember now.
All right,
Oh,
look.
boy.
This is
Okay.
why.
But back to the
This is-
healthcare.
Yes, this is why I chose this. Not necessarily for the healthcare portion of it, but he's in the car and he's like, Dom's like, "We have to get you to the hospital," and he's like, "No, I have my own health insurance," because he pulled out a phone and he's like, "I'm not going to the hospital."
What I think is funny about this is that when I screenshot like the episode art
Yeah.
for this lap has been like the most Dom moment. So like
Yes.
I'll take a screenshot of Dom and Mr. Nobody. And people will be
Holding
like,
a
oh
phone.
yeah, that was a really Dom moment for Dom. It's like, no. It's
Mr.
Mr.
Nobody talking about health insurance. That's what really got him.
Insanity. Montez, what the fuck? All right, Brian. Brian, this is your first time this lap. What in this movie, either a Dom thing or a not Dom thing,
Exemplifies
best exemplifies
the character.
Yes. What one action or scene or line or moment's like, wow, that was really Dom.
I feel like my only purpose on this podcast is to derail conversation. So
Okay.
I want to ask you a question that maybe I've asked before, maybe I haven't. But after watching Furious 7,
Okay.
do you feel like Dom is a Dom, or is he more of a power bottom?
He is softened. Well, you can be a Dom and a power bottom,
No.
can't you?
You
I
can,
don't think there's rules. I think that you could just be whatever you want to be.
but he's not as Dommy, I guess is my point, as the name Dom would suggest.
Well,
in this
everyone has
film.
softened over the course of the franchise.
Especially here, though, and I just feel like maybe, he's not as Dom anymore. Maybe it's a lowercase d in his name.
Oh.
It's possible. So the most Dom moment, I think, is Hobbs in the ambulance, just like breaking out of the hospital, just
Okay.
ambulancing it out, and everything's okay. Picking up the like, what is that? Like a helicopter machine gun.
Yes.
And just
Yeah.
making his presence known, despite all his injuries, like healing like that. Just very, very Dommy.
Sure. Okay, that's fair. Joe, what's your pick?
I have a specific moment, but it's more of an overall theme but I'll
Okay.
explain the moment that I like really saw this in. I think it's throughout the movie, Dom kind of shielding Brian from danger, or like at least like protecting him. Specifically, like when they're like driving between the buildings, and he kind of like makes Brian jump out of the car first so that he knows Brian is safe, because like he knows
Yeah.
Mia's pregnant, so like not only would he like leave his sister hung out to dry, but like in that sense he's like taking care of family and just babysitting Brian essentially to make sure that he doesn't die before his baby comes and screws his sister over, pretty much.
Yeah. I think that's a good pick.
Can I ask a question to derail the conversation again?
Yes.
Where do you think Dom ends and Vin begins?
We don't have an answer to that question. We've talked about that a lot.
I know you do, but in
Recently,
this...
Joe referred to one of them by the correct thing, and I thought he was asking the other thing. Like we so interchangeably use these names that it's hard to actually. I don't know.
So watching this film today, actually, believe it or not, I was incredibly moved today, and I was surprised that I was. But one of the things I did notice is that maybe it's me projecting on the film, maybe it is the death of Paul Walker, but there's an element of Dom and Vin merging and acknowledging, and especially towards the end, obviously, but almost winking at the camera like, I have to take over this series in a way that wasn't there before. I was just rewatched Ted Lasso season 1, and what's his name? Roy Kent, that character. Ted Lasso.
He's here. He's there. He's everything. Go ahead.
Ted Lasso gives him A Wrinkle in Time to read, and he like reads this passage about like he has to be the leader here. He has to do it. And I know he always had an ego, but I believe the death of Paul Walker created this thing inside of Vin where it's just like, I have to be more alpha than I ever have before to bring this series home and where I want it to be. Like, he is 100% the main character for the rest of the series, and it's not even debatable, right? All worlds.
Do you think that's starting here? Because they finished shooting after Paul passed away, right? So like, do you think?
Yeah.
Do you see evidence of that here?
Yes, I do, because, and I'm glad you bring that up. I definitely believe it was edited that way. I don't believe the edit we got is what we would have had, right?
Oh no, 100% no. We talked about that a lot. No, there's a lot here, and there's the tweet that I found for BD Wappy I will bring up later, but it's a scene that we've talked about before of something that like I think is very clearly going to be a different thing, and then they changed it to be something else entirely because. But yes, I for sure I would 100% agree.
I have a weird question to kind of piggyback off Brian's question.
Oh shit!
And it's like it's a quasi 3-parter. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think Dom, Vin's, or Mark Sinclair's favorite book is? And I bet, and they're all different, right?
I like that question. Oh my god.
Dom, Vin, and Mark Sinclair. Well,
like Mark Sinclair's has to be like, rule book 1 for Dungeons and Dragons.
I was
right?
thinking, but is that Mark Sinclair or is that Vin? Like when he's playing D&D, I don't know that we've ever met Mark Sinclair.
Yeah, that's okay. So like Mark Sinclair could be like some philosophy book, right? Like, because I imagine that he envisions himself as a philosopher. And Vin's is like the what?
Like the Dungeon Master's Handbook. Yeah.
That or like what was it, like the Arnold Schwarzenegger book, like how like pumping iron or something.
I'm with you. I think Mark Sinclair is the nerd at heart. I know we haven't met him, but I think it's The Hobbit for Mark Sinclair. And
oh, good pick.
I think that changed Mark Sinclair's young life reading Tolkien like that. So,
that makes sense.
Vin and Dom is tough. I'm going to get back to you on that one. I really want to think about this one.
Okay, Montez, what do you think? Do you have an answer for any of these 3 books? You're a big reader.
No.
No answers. Okay, cool.
I think that like Dom's favorite book would probably be like, Montez can kind of help here, but like some kind of like Hot Wheels children's book feels like up the alley of like what Dom would be reading.
Well, I was going to say Dom probably is into graphic novels.
Oh, okay. I can see that. That would track. I could definitely see him being like he was big into comics or something like that.
I think
yeah.
his favorite book is the Kelly Blue Book.
Ooh. Yeah, parts guides. What is it? Fucking like parts guides. Summit Racing
Yeah.
Catalog. That's what his favorite book is every month.
Joey, can you text your colleague?
Yeah, I'll text Bob. Yeah, I'll text Bob.
Bob and ask
Tulsa.
him.
Tulsa.
Sorry, Tulsa. And can you do a follow-up question to Bob when you're done?
Mm-hmm.
A separate piece by John Knowles. Which of the three characters would enjoy this book most? I'm just curious. The Trinity.
Okay,
The
I'm going to see if he's
Father,
I'm gonna see if
Son,
he
Holy
answers his
Spirit.
first one first, though. Yeah.
Let's go religion here. Dom.
That's interesting.
The Bible. Dom's is the Bible.
Yeah.
I
can
don't know
see
if he
that.
actually reads the Bible. He doesn't seem like he lives a biblical life. I mean, biblical, yes, but not very Christian life. He thinks he does, but
Maybe it's like Sun Tzu's The Art of War. Like I think it's something Asian. It's something spiritual, old.
actually, you know what? I think it's like something his father read to him. Just like I love.
I was gonna say
love
like
corduroy.
where the red fern grows or something. Like the last book he read in school.
The Hungry Caterpillar. My father used to read it to me all the time.
Yeah, that probably tracks.
The
actually.
chrysalis, the cocoon, and then it was a fucking butterfly. You know, like something like that. And that's me.
Sorry, I just need more of that. That was a really good Dom impression.
It's
Talking
terrible.
about
I
the
don't think it was a
hungry
good
caterpillar.
Dom. It was a great voice. I don't think it would sound anything like Dom, but I
Didn't sound
appreciate
anything like Dom.
No,
I just really liked envisioning Vin trying to explain his love of the hungry caterpillar.
That sounded like Dom if Dom was raised in Queens.
I don't have
Yeah.
a good Dom accent.
That's fine. You don't have to. My most Dom moment, I think that Deckard's vowing vengeance for Dom for hospitalizing Owen, I think, is a pretty Dom moment. But I do think that the biggest thing here is, at its core, this is a Dom and Letty love story. And them in the elevator, him saying he feels awkward in the suit, being reminded of old times. Like when he's with her, everything else melts away. And then at the end, when he comes back to life and just saying, you can't tell someone they love you. I think whenever he's with Letty, he's the most himself. And I think it's either at the end when he recounts their secret wedding, or, Letty recounts a secret wedding, or just in the elevator, the two of them just saying, it doesn't matter, like, we're about to do something crazy here, but like right now in this moment, it's just us.
I can see it for sure, because I do think that Letty brings out a lot of like the essence of Dom, so it's hard to think anything against that for sure.
And there is, of course, the line, "I don't have friends, I got family," that he says to Deckard, which is, pretty Dom, right? So, all right, Montez, the time has come. Where do you want to start? Favorite moments, least favorite moments, whatever quadrant you want to begin.
All right. Okay.
Bob says Dom's favorite book is Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance.
Good choice. Yeah.
I will report more answers as they happen. Yeah, Montez, wherever you want to begin.
Okay, so I loved No Niece Denise
Okay.
because I thought it was really funny. Just because, so context there, so I don't remember watching this movie for the first time. And I clearly don't remember watching it the 3 times that I've watched it over the past 2 weeks.
Do you try to block it out? Is it too emotional for? It's like just too
No,
heavy.
2 of the showings it was back to back. One of them I fell asleep at the
Okay.
end, in the middle. So we
Nice.
started again in the middle, and then I fell asleep again. So, I mean, I did pay attention to it today. I will say I was a little surprised. I got a little emotional there at the end.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I did get to watch Michael cry while he watched this when we were in New York. So
Okay. Cool.
So there's that. I did get to see him cry, which he told me I'd never get to see him watch this movie. Let's see. I'm going through my notes, not in any.
Please, speaking of that, Montez, is there anything you want to add about our rendezvous in New York? I already talked about it on the last episode, but Joe was like,
How
you
were the
just want
hot
to
dogs?
save stories? But yeah, go ahead.
I haven't had that much beer in a long time.
Do you just
And
normally
Montez
not
was
drink,
like,
or
and
just
she was
no
baby
beer?
sipping by the end too.
Yeah, my beverage stomach was getting full.
Yeah, that happens.
My hot dog stomach was still empty though.
Were the hot dogs
Could've-
good?
They were delicious.
Awesome.
Where were they from?
You know, Montez does
Where were
not
they from?
like mustard on
This
the hot dogs.
this dive bar. Brian probably knows it. What's it called? Rudy's.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they like give away free hot dogs. I've heard of this place before.
It's so crazy because like I was thinking about my history with this film, and I remember exactly where I was when I learned that Paul Walker died, and it was in a hot dog place, Criff Dogs on St. Mark's.
Oh, I've been to Criff Dogs.
Yeah, they got a couple locations, pretty cool places. Speakeasy in that one, or there used to be. I don't know.
Yes. The one that had it. Yes. And Bourdain went there too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's again, that was I remember looking at my phone. I'm like, holy shit! And I called my friend. I'm like, yo, Paul Walker died, and they were like, what's gonna happen in the movie? I know, like you're supposed to think about other things, but I remember exactly thinking about that.
Okay. I also have updates from Bob.
Okay.
He says, for Mark Sinclair, we were on the right path, I think, with The Hyperion Cantos by Dan Sim. And he said that's real nerd-ass sci-fi fantasy shit.
Okay.
And then for Vin, I think this is the best answer that anybody's given all night, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, yeah.
And then I said, one final question, which of the three would most like a separate piece by John Knowles? He just said, gosh, probably Vin, question mark?
That's what I thought. Okay.
Okay, Montez, back to your notes.
Okay.
You love No Knees to Knees.
Yeah, I also loved, as an IT guy myself, I loved when The Rock said, goddamn IT guys,
Oh,
during his fight. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I don't have anything in my hate column this time.
Ooh,
I mean,
well,
aside from the freaking
3
song.
watches deep.
Well, no, Joe, she remembers 4 scenes. I mean, she does not hate 4 scenes.
Yeah, I mean...
This movie, 2 hours and 20 minutes long. She remembers 4 scenes and she hates none of them.
I thought it was really funny, Brian, in the minivan scene. I thought
Yeah.
that
I
was,
like that.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Did you
Montez, do
relate
you have a
to that?
minivan?
Fuck no.
Okay.
Jesus.
Calm down.
Do I look like I would drive a minivan?
Brian doesn't. Brian has one.
Well-
Not this Brian. That Brian.
Well, I mean, he only has one kid, so why is he got a minivan? That's the other thing is, he's got one kid. He doesn't need a minivan. You need a minivan.
Well-
You've got like 15 kids.
They're family planning. And you find out in this movie that Mia's pregnant again, right? So, like, they know.
I like that he does have a minivan, but all of them drive separately everywhere.
Yes.
So it's like he never needs these extra seats. Like you make a great point. Like he has one kid, fine.
Yeah.
But then also like even if like it was like, oh, like well we go to like the drive-in or whatever. Like no, they would all take a separate car every time.
It doesn't economically make sense.
It does not.
It would be funny to see them at a drive-in and they roll like 8 deep. They're like, you can like, you would save a
You're
lot of
paid
money
per
if you just,
car, yeah.
you could just like, they're like, no, man.
I mean, look, here's the thing. And I know this is going to come out really insensitive, and you guys can be mad at me after I say it, but at the very end of the movie, when he pulls up next to Dom, he should have pulled up next to him in the minivan.
Oh my God, that'd be
Oh,
great.
No.
That'd be
Not
great.
insensitive at
No.
all. I would have really liked it.
I just think when you are against a certain life and you find yourself in that certain life, sometimes to accept it more, you just go all in. And he was probably like, I can't buy a cool car. I can't have a cool car because I'm going to
White
want
New
to race it.
Balances.
Yeah. He's like, let me just, wear the khakis and buy the minivan. And I'm all in now. I'm not going to be tempted to race this thing, even though you could tell he kind of is.
Yeah, that's fair. I could see that. He'd be like, yeah, like if I drive, or Mia being like, you're not taking him in the fucking Skyline to school, and you're like, okay, fine, yeah, sure,
What else? Oh, this is going to surprise everyone.
okay.
I actually really liked Roman in this movie.
Wow, look at you.
Good.
He's super silly, goofy in this movie.
I was wondering about this because he does something in this movie twice that that Hobbs also does once, but
What?
he emerges, or no, he does it once in this movie. He does it in a different movie, but he emerges like when he lands from the plane and he like saves the day, right? Like it's just like out of nowhere, a character comes and just saves the day. And then later, Hobbs does the same thing with the ambulance, right? We were talking about that earlier
Yes,
with
yes,
the
yes.
most Dom moment. But it's just like twice there's been a character that's like not in the scene, not involved, like is in the universe, they're around, and they just come out of nowhere, sort of Deus ex machina, save the day. It's the same thing that Roman does in Fast Five when it goes, afternoon officer, license registration. Like he does the same thing. He just comes out of nowhere, makes a mark, does an entry, whatever. My question to the three of you: how many times realistically could they do that in a single movie? Because we're approaching the point where where like the bench is like 20 or 25 people deep. Like they could do that over and over again, and like it would be believable. It would be insane.
What? Like just have somebody come from the back and like save the day in every sequence?
like, in F9, we will not spoil because Brian Montez has not seen 8 or 9. She's seen most of them, but she's not seen 8 or 9. But like at the end of 9, it happens from a major character. You're like, oh, of course he was coming back, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, but you could have, CGI Brian do that. You could have this character do that, whatever. Like, you could keep doing it over and over again because there's like 40 characters we follow. Like, how many times do you think they could do that in a single movie down the stretch and before you were like, this is too many?
Infinite.
Okay.
So something I noticed on this watch, specifically when Dwayne Johnson Hobbs does a rock bottom.
Thank you.
I don't know when it happened, but there was a time when action, fights, and sequences changed from being more like karate to being more like wrestling.
Yes.
And in wrestling, like if you watch wrestling on TV, it's shot in a way where like if it's a triple threat match, you're watching two people fighting, right? And then randomly the guy will emerge or break up a tag or break up the pin. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But if you're ever live in a wrestling arena, you really have to suspend disbelief because the guy who's been passed out for 10 minutes outside the ring suddenly wakes up and creeps there and he does it, right? So like now that they're following these wrestling rules in this series and most action films, to be honest with you, I think Infinite is the answer. Like, as long as you don't show the person doing it and the surprise, people just go nuts in the theater when it happens. Like, a puppet could come out of nowhere and do that. And people will go, oh, shit, remember that puppet? It's No Knees Denise. Oh, my God, if No Knees Denise came out of nowhere, that'd be amazing.
We've been pitching that for so long. We want No Knees Denise to show up in 10. She gotta come back, right? Like, she gotta be, like, an actual character at some point.
She's definitely gonna be, like, Paula Patton, like, super hot. And
I was gonna say, like, Janelle Monáe or something.
Yeah, like, just, oh, shit, that was No Knees Denise the entire time.
Yeah, and, like, she clowns him. She was like, yeah, I still remember, like, you being an ass at prom or whatever. He's like, no, like, come on, Denise, give me another shot.
I got more insights from Bob.
Okay.
Breaking news.
Okay.
He says he answered his things and he said probably Vin about A Separate Piece by John Knowles. He said just because I don't think Dom reads and I think Mark is locked in on dork shit.
Okay.
Vin wants to be seen as someone serious, an artist. So really, he says his favorite book is A Separate Piece, but secretly it's the Carnegie book. I've never read A Separate Piece though. But I think that's right. I think like Dom doesn't read. He just like in the garage doing his thing or just with family or whatever. And then Mark is just like, I need to, like, I'm only Heinlein this month, right? Like, it's just nerd shit, right? So I think by default, Vin is like, Vin is the
philosophical one.
Just like everything else, right? It's either, if it's not nerd and it's not no books, it's everything else.
Okay.
Montez, more notes? Anything else?
Oh, when we were watching the fighting scenes this time, I really, really noticed how much they use the turn of the camera. Like if you get like thrown onto your back, the camera follows you and you stay level as you do this. And they do it like 20 times in this movie. And I never specifically noticed how many times they do it until I watched it this time.
I mean, it's a new director, right? It's James Wan. Yeah. He comes from the world of horror, so that might be kind of that.
It definitely, like, I really felt, as I was watching it this time, like, oh my god, this really does not feel like a Justin Lin movie. Like, at all, for the Fast and the Furious. Like, it feels very, very different, just, like, cinematography-wise.
Montez, do you think, compared to the last four, which is the last four both released and the last four that we watched, do you like the feel of this movie more or less than of what you remember, the four scenes in this movie? How does this compare for you to the last four, which were all done by Justin Lin? Do you like the feel and the sort of like the look of this more or less than the last four?
I did feel like it was a little all over the place.
Just like food, I get it.
Yeah, food all
over the place. So,
Ooh, I'm gonna ask Midjourney what food all over the place is. Go ahead.
I feel like that's maybe one of the reasons why I couldn't like keep up with it. There was a lot of camera movement. Like it was, I don't know. It was trying to make it look and feel more actiony than it was. So,
I mean, there's a ton of like hand-to-hand combat in this one. Like,
yeah,
there's a ton of fighting, but this one.
No, I'm with you though. I would have liked the camera to not have done what it did.
So many flips. Like it did so many flips.
Like, can it just stay stationary?
What's interesting though is like this is the first action movie he ever did. He's only done this in Aquaman. Like everything else is just straight up horror. Like he did Saw and the 2 Conjuring movies and Insidious 2 and Dead Silence and of course Malignant. But like he's not really an action director. And like I don't think horror really follows. Like I think this is more actiony than it's just
Definitely
it's
more
weird.
actiony. Yeah, I
Maybe
agree.
he doesn't have a command of action camera in a way that Justin Lin did. I don't know. I think it does feel different, and from here on out, every movie is going to be directed by a different person. So keep an eye out. I'm curious to see, Montez, what your thoughts on this question are as they go on. Brian, same question to you. Do you like the Justin Lin feel and look and everything more or less than the James Wan?
First of all, you're wrong because every movie is directed by the same person. After
Vin
this,
Diesel?
Vin Diesel, exactly.
Yeah.
But I actually like it because it's different. Quick segue into why I hadn't been listening to this lap, and it's no offense to you guys. It's just like I kind of got tired of this series. Like I was just sorry to
Of
say,
Too Fast or of Fast and Furious?
Burnout?
no, not your podcast.
Thank you.
Of the film series and stuff. I was a little burnt out, and then today I was kind of like, I got to watch this movie. I got to watch it. Like I'm not in the mood for it, and then I watched it and I realized. This is actually a pretty good action movie. It's got a pretty good story. I know you guys don't care, but I wanted to look up the critical scores. They're all pretty good, especially for this series, where some of the films do not get good scores. And it was really refreshing. And we'll talk about the ending and all that stuff later. But and I think that part of that is because of the director. Like I tune out most in the action scenes these days, to be honest with you.
Yep,
So maybe those quick camera cuts are not good. But there was something about this film that felt not as... it felt different to other ones in the series enough where I was very motivated to watch it and I felt good after watching it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I have important sort of breaking news. I asked Midjourney. If people don't know Midjourney, it's a generative AI tool that you can give a prompt and it just creates art. It's in Discord.
So
You get
Joey's
a bunch for free.
disrespecting actual artists and
Yeah, sure, whatever. Go ahead. This, I asked what food all over the place is, and it gives 4 different things, each more nightmarish than the last. I don't know what the bottom 2 are, even a little bit, but I love all 4 of them, especially the bottom 2.
these are actually really sick.
Oof, no thank you.
And then I also asked, as a follow-up,
Is that like a food pyramid, but like a girl being
under it, getting smushed by it? I don't know.
Yeah.
And then this, as a follow-up, simply, no knees Denise.
I was waiting for this.
Oh, why is she a wrestler in this one?
I
She has
don't
like
know.
a nice.
I don't know,
they
man.
like cut her knees out. They like surgically removed them in some
But,
of
she,
these.
but her legs are still bent at the knees.
They are. What is Dono's nose? And why is there like a cow behind her?
I don't know, man. None of these. I like that the bottom left one, which is kind of like a thick Avril Lavigne kind of, is like somehow sitting on nothing.
Yeah, with a big X. No knee. Nos knee.
Knee 3 on Neasels.
I no longer fear the singularity anymore.
Midjourney is fascinating, but even when you give it a really good specific prompt, it can't get people's faces right. Like it's so weird.
Yeah, it's really
I would not
bad
be
at
worried
faces.
yet, but if you think about like what it's going to be like 3 months or 6 months out, or let alone like a year, like
10 years.
be scared then. Right now we're okay, but like in the near future, it's not going to be okay. But
I
these
don't
are
know if
pretty
they're
good.
I don't know if they're trying to imply she doesn't have an ankle in this one either. And why is she wearing 2 different shoes in all of like in some of them?
I don't know. I don't know why she has like a fanny pack over the one knee. There's the lack of a knee.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's like half shorts, half jeans. Montez, would you wear pants like that are like half Daisy Dukes, half
That
kind
was
of
like a
capris?
fashion thing in like 90s like
No, man, it's back. It's back.
it's back like the one leg.
Oh yeah,
It's-
yeah.
It's back. Yeah,
Oh,
no, but I
man.
never wore that. I don't wear that. I like to when I'm paying full price for a pair of pants, I'd like to get a full pair of pants.
Well, what if you paid full price for a pair of shorts and it just came with extra jeans?
I feel like that'd be a bargain.
Yeah, okay.
I like it.
Market them as shorts.
I'll put these on the. Should I put these on the Twitter? Or should I put these on the Patreon? Make it exclusive behind the paywall.
You could do either one, but they're fucking weird.
Make it exclusive for
Yeah.
only what's it called members? Hernan Reyes members only.
Oh, I could lock up behind a tier that no one is.
Yeah.
The
These are
bottom
really weird.
right one looks like it's like an Alice in Wonderland, Back to the Food one. Like, I don't know what that is, but I want that like bedroom.
Yeah, these ones are sick. They definitely stole some like specific artists' steez for these ones. But
Like
they're
you could,
cool.
I could
They
keep
look
like a
good.
more like food all over the place in the style of Lewis Carroll, or you know what I mean? Or like in the style of Ralph Steadman. Like you can do like anything,
Okay.
but this was just straight up food all over the place. I didn't want to influence it, and it came up with, oh man, this is wild. Okay, anyway,
I don't understand why this woman has like half-eaten, like chicken wing arms.
Oh yeah. Oh, they like ate her too. She was
She
part
is
of the
food.
food.
Yeah, she is.
He's part of the food all over the place.
This seems like very out. Like this. This seems like this is like something like an artist would be like. Yeah, I was talking about like the epidemic of obesity in America. You know, like that's what I was trying to describe with this piece. And you're like, what are you? It's just food with this like poor girl with no hands.
Yeah, the top left one is pretty normal. It's just like Italian food, a lot of different varieties. The top right is kind of like, different Asian food, whatever. And then it's absolute just chaos. I love it though, man. It's great. Okay,
Yeah, the-
Montez.
Good. Sorry.
Anyway, no. I'm the one who distracted onto this monstrous art. Montez, how many pages of notes did you take?
It's one page. I wrote really, really tiny this time.
I don't believe it. Is that a
I
picture?
call bullshit. Good.
I did write tiny this time. Okay, so let's see my other thoughts. I thought that the writing of this movie wasn't great, but it was also really funny. There were a lot of like one-liners.
Okay.
I thought it was pretty hilarious how all of a sudden everyone is just an expert fighter, and I want to know what cheat code they all used to become like professional fighters.
Joe, do you
Tony.
want to explain Wes's theory of automancing?
Yes. Wes says like whatever they're next to, they just like absorb the power from kind of. So like if they're driving, they're just getting better at driving. If they're
Wait, was
holding
it
a
Wes
gun,
or was it Walt? It might have been Walt. I don't
no,
know.
it
one
was
of
it was
them.
it was Wes's friend. I used it for
Okay,
something
okay,
else.
yeah.
And then like so like if they're holding a gun, they're instantly good at holding a gun. If they throw one punch, they're gonna be like Keanu Reeves learning karate from The Matrix, right? Like it's
You can
just
think about it
that's
like The Sims, Montez, where it's like you're reading a book, you become better at reading, you become smarter. Like you cook, you become better at cooking. You play chess, you become better at knowledge or whatever, right? Like
Yep.
it's just that. Like, but then like them actually hand on a hard body, they're getting better at cars.
Joey, what did your Sims girlfriend look like? Be honest.
I never had time for relationships, man. I was trying to get to the top of the career.
Oh,
really that tracks so
I was
hard.
gonna say true in real life.
It makes so much sense. Like
Yeah,
that
as I've
was
been
like
at the same company for 10 years where there's no upward mobility, but I'm definitely trying to get to the top of this.
Oh, I thought you meant the
career
podcasting
ladder.
world.
Oh, well, yeah, that too, sure.
I mean, when I play Sims, I'm a man, and I usually have sex with all the old ladies in the neighborhood until they die.
That also tracks.
this is right
Yeah.
up my alley.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good one.
But it's up your alley in real life, Joe. That's a different thing.
It would be. It would be. That's pretty much. Yeah. That would be my goal as well.
I love when The Rock is in the hospital and he just is like, Daddy's gotta go to work, and he just like rips off his cast, and out of nowhere he has like all of his weapons. He's perfectly fine. He
Yo.
just
Yeah, no, I'm fully with you. I was like, the hospital scene really sent me for a loop this time too, because I was like, what hospital have you ever been in? Like, Brian, does Nicole just like leave you your prescriptions like sitting there somewhere, like
No.
on the like tape? Like, no, a nurse would
I mean,
bring him them at the appropriate time. He couldn't just like take 6 Vicodin like out of the like. They don't even fill prescriptions for you while you're in the hospital. You know what I mean? Like, he would have had to like get them on the way home or something.
No, yeah, that's not how it works.
Yeah, it was like I was like, what the fuck kind of hospital is this? But-
well. While we're speaking about hospitals, obviously I'm going to be talking about this because I think the most dumb moment is health insurance.
yes,
Sure.
true.
It's at the very beginning when Shaw is in the hospital and he's like leaving the hospital, and like his brother's in there, and then like everything is just like hanging off the ceiling. It feels like a zombie apocalypse. The hospital is just like in complete disarray. The nurses are like cowering in the corner.
Yep.
And then like everything starts exploding.
And he just leaves him there. He's like, you're in good hands. I blew up this hospital. Nothing's gonna work. But like, glad you need intensive care because you're
like,
fine here.
I don't know what's happening. Okay. I did write down who got the fuck. I thought it was pretty. I thought it was pretty silly when they're like, someone just double tapped our drone. I would also like to say when Roman said, "Is that a what do you say, a rocket ship or a spaceship?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay," because you're all talking about when you're going to go to space later. It's called foreshadowing.
Wait, who gets the fuck in this movie? Remind the listeners.
It is. I'm gonna mispronounce either one of them. I had to look up the character name. It was Digimon.
Jimon Hounsou?
Yes, thank you.
Mosey Jaconda?
So the guy in the helicopter with him says, someone just double chapped our drone. And he just yells, fuck.
Just one? Just like...
Sweet.
Yeah,
fuck.
just one. And then like the next scene, the guy in the helicopter said something else to him and he just yells, shit.
I feel like that one was like, oh, we got one fuck we could put in this movie. They're like, oh, we didn't use it yet. Just like give it to that guy.
This is something that is recurring in his career, but what a waste of an Academy Award, actor or nominated actor.
Well, okay, so that's actually a good point about the waste, is that what do you both of you think? Because, Montez, if you don't know the backstory, but Brian's been on every lap doing one movie, so I think you only have 1 and 9 left, is that right? I think you've done everything else. Maybe?
I have no idea.
You're close to the end.
I thought I did this one, honestly.
No, you haven't. As far as my notes go, you have not. But something we've talked about a lot over time, and I want to get both of your take on this because I don't think you've ever talked about Furious 7 specifically with us, but like, what do you both think of the fact that there are basically 2 main antagonists in this movie? This is both the Deckard Shaw movie and the Mosey Jaconda movie. Do they work? Do they complement one another? Is it too much? Do you forget, like, oh, right, we have to go back to the other thing that's not settled? Would this movie have been better if they just focused on one or the other?
Do they work well together? No, but I like it because it's what I said before. It's triple threat match. When I'm looking at one, boom, the other one comes in. So I think it's used effectively. I don't know if it makes it a better or worse movie, but action-wise, I'm not against it.
Coming at it from the perspective of, I'm trying to keep up with the story and not watching this as an action movie, it was too much. I feel like there was way too much going on. Like, we're trying to get Letty's memories back. So, like you said, it's like a love story. So we're trying to get Letty's memories back. We've got the hacker. We're introducing God's Eye. We've got Mr. Nobody. We're introducing all these new people, and then it feels like a lot. It feels like too many Game of Thrones episodes merged into one. There's too many people. I need a whiteboard, and I need Polaroids so I can keep track of all these people.
One thing that we've talked about, even a little bit here in this episode, but also basically every time we talk about this movie, is that like this movie that we're seeing, I think, Brian, you might have mentioned it tonight, it's not the movie that we were going to get originally.
Yeah.
That, Paul passing away changed everything. This is one of the major questions. I wish that, like, what would the villain layout have looked like had Paul not died? Because it feels like it had to have affected everything. Like even though they say it didn't affect it, like everything's got to be a scramble, right? Like, what happened?
I do think, though, that the movie's probably better. Again, I'm not rooting for Paul Walker to have died, but I think it is better that way because I believe this was just kind of a set the table movie without that. Let's set Mr. Nobody, let's set other things, and instead, in editing, they framed it more about family and his impending retirement and things like that. So I don't know what it would have been, but I definitely think it would have just been, let's reset things so that we can bring it to a different stratosphere, which they do a little bit, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Montez, any additional thoughts on that or anything else you want to say from your notes?
Nope.
Notes empty?
The notes are empty.
Okay. Well, Brian, we have gone through Montez's notes slower than ever before, and yet we still barely hit an hour before editing. So, like, okay. Brian, I guess you remember 4 scenes, but Brian, what do you think of Furious 7? I don't remember where it falls in your rankings. I don't know if you even know, I don't even know if we have your rankings officially. We're going to have to wait till you finish this, but like, you know, you were saying you were avoiding, you were hesitant, you were worried about it, then you liked it as an action movie. Like, thoughts on Furious 7? Favorite parts, least favorite parts?
Well, I'm going to start from the end, and then I'll go through my notes. So watching it today, I got, like I said, unusually emotional. Again, not to bring the podcast down, but something I sort
No,
of...
it hits some days. Some days it just hits, you know? Like, you just... like, some days I get really sad at the end of this. I understand.
But specifically, I had a friend from high school who passed away when I was in college, and the anniversary of that is tomorrow. So it's like, I honestly had forgot which one Furious 7 was. So that final scene today, tears were streaming down the face. And maybe they would have a little bit, but today, just like, again, I know the song's a corny song, but framed here, it is framed so perfectly. This is, to me, a beautiful ending, a beautiful send-off to the Brian character. And it's something, too, if I ever get tired of the films, especially the later installments, I'm reminded that, like, I can opt out here. Anyone can opt out here in the series if they want, right? Like, if they want to exit...
This could be the end, yeah.
100%. If they want to exit with the Brian character, they can. Obviously, not you guys. You're doing it forever. But I think it does give you, I guess this is a pun or whatever, but it kind of gives you an exit ramp for the series. Like, if someone wants to not get into the world of Cypher and all these things, they don't necessarily have to. So I thought that was interesting on my watch today, how much closure I got from it, if that makes sense.
Sure. Montez, aside from wishing he rolled up in a minivan, what did you think of the ending?
Watching it again, knowing that he is gone, and like the scene with him and Mia and Jack on the beach, I mean, it got me. It choked me up a little bit. I thought it was really well done, and as I was watching it, I was thinking, we've mentioned this already, that the movie was probably cut and edited differently because he had passed away. But
Yep.
You can, watching it through with that lens of, this is his last film, knowing how everyone feels about him that's in the movie, knowing how Vin feels about him. I mean, it's an emotional movie. It definitely did not feel like that for me when I watched it the first time, even though I don't remember watching it. But
Is there a world that they can kill Brian off in the Fast and the Furious?
No, absolutely not.
Right? They absolutely can't. Like, he has to stay alive.
Unless it's Captain America style and he's like an old man and they CGI him just like, passing away of old age in like 20 or 30 years, like in the future. No, he can't like die before his time.
Yeah. Maybe that's like the time machine thing, Joey. Maybe they go to the future to be like, and Brian's like, yeah, I had a good life here. Thanks, guys. And then, like, they kind of...
They cast him as like an old, different actor?
Yeah.
No, I think his brother CGI'd as an old man, deep faked style would be better. Just like, again, like I said, like Chris Evans, Captain America, old person, just like, thank you.
Spoilers.
For giving me this life. Well, no spoilers there. No spoilers there.
Captain America gets old? Spoilers.
Oh my god, he ages?
Wait till you hear what happens. What else happens? Not only gets old, but...
Brian, what else about this movie, other than the ending and the emotional weight and heft of the ending? What else about this movie do you like? Is there stuff about this that you don't like?
You're going to hate me. My notes are long. Want to mention that this was the film...
I'm glad that someone does the homework here.
Oh, here we go.
I want to mention that Vin Diesel said during the promotion of this film that Furious 7 will win Best Picture at the Oscars.
Okay, yes.
Spoiler alert, that did not happen.
Damn. He was close, though, right?
It just tells me, I don't think he's bullshitting either. It just tells me like how much heart and emotion he puts into these films, but also, like that thing where like you make something, maybe even like food or like whatever, and you're just like, damn, that's a good soup. He was like, he finished the movie like, damn, that's a good movie. It's going to win an Oscar.
I still think my favorite quote from him about these movies, and like this one in particular, is, and I still, because I don't know what it means, this one is from Paul. 8, it's for Paul. It's like, what?
That's this is what I'm saying. He's reading like a bunch of philosophy books. He has to be, because that makes no sense.
Okay, so other questions here, or questions.
Okay.
I've discussed on other podcasts. Joe, I think you were with me. Maybe it was on a Twilight podcast or something. But
Ooh,
I've said that most people on the Cage Club podcast network are essentially fun uncles, aka funkles.
Yes. I remember this.
Is Dom a funkle? Is he a fun
God
uncle?
damn it! I had this fucking question when we were talking earlier. I swear to God, you sucked it out of my head. I was gonna say, like, do you think Dom is a good uncle, not a fun uncle, but a good uncle? Both.
Good, yes.
Hey.
Fun though.
You think he's a good uncle, but he's never there. So like, he just like shows
He's
up
an
like.
absentee funkle.
That's what I mean. Like,
I think he's a good uncle because he's doing everything in his power to protect his niece or nephew, his nephew at this point.
You know, honestly, Joe, to your thing, he could be he's actually the dad. Like, this isn't dumb, but it feels like he's the dad that, like, oh no, that's your uncle. And like later in life, you're like, you know, that was actually your father. Like, he just was
we
never
just
around, so we
raised you.
called him your uncle.
He's like a criminal on the run the whole time, so we just called him Uncle Dom. But like, that was like your biological dad. You know that, right? Yeah, that you're right.
But is he fun?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think he's terribly unfun.
Okay.
I think it would be like you could have fun moments with him if you like wanted to like work on a car. But like, I think that like in general he would be like a disciplinarian, and like, because he's so caring about his family that I think that he will be like concerned with your safety enough to not let you have actual fun. And I also can't see him being like, oh yeah, like that basketball hoop that's on the garage behind our house, like we use that. Like, Dom's not playing it's like Mia was playing basketball by herself, right? Like, I can't see Dom being like, oh yeah, like me and Vince just like play one-on-one all the time.
Jesse and Vince definitely shot.
Yeah,
some
like
hoops.
Jesse and Leon, sure.
Oh, Leon
Fine.
for sure. I forgot about Leon because everyone else did. But like Leon definitely likes shooting hoops all the time.
Yeah, like in the backyard, like totally get it. But like, I don't see Dom being like, yeah, like I want to play, horse. Can I get in? You'd be like, he's not doing that. He's just like sitting there or like on the grill.
And he's on the grill, yeah, or just in a chair with a beer. He's got a beer. He can't play hoops because he's got a beer. He's got a Corona in a hand at all times.
That, and like, okay, then you're like, if you wanted to play like video games, can you see Dom playing video games? Not unless it's Gran Turismo.
I also feel like in the same way that LeBron has never done the dunk contest, Vin would never play horse because he wouldn't want to lose.
Yeah, and I also don't think he plays Gran Turismo because like he's.
They literally do in the movies. That's the only reason.
I know, but I just don't think I've thought about this, and I just don't think he's gonna sit there and be like because he
grind out this super license today.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Also, he could do all that shit in real life. A lot of people play Gran Turismo because they can't.
Yeah.
Because and not like in a loser way. It's like I can't afford to do that to a car, right? But like he can and does. So I think he's like tangentially interested in it, and it's more like, oh snap, they have all these cars, but then like he loses interest very quickly.
Yeah, I can see him be like Letty plays. They have a PlayStation at their house. I can see him watching everybody else play, but being like, "Nah, I'm good." They're like, "You want to turn?" And he's like, "Nah, whatever. I'll just go like for a drive."
Maybe he plays like Mike Tyson Punch Out, things like that, like just like button mashing games, like that's.
You know what he definitely loves though? Carnival games.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm with you on that.
He loves winning Letty a big teddy bear.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Like super up his alley, like fill the clown's mouth with water, knock the milk bottles off. I can see him doing all of these and being really into it.
He's the kind of like boyfriend who some of my friends are, unfortunately. I mean, I don't want to say unfortunately,
Okay.
that's mean. But like who definitely likes teaching his girlfriend things, or like, oh, you see that? That's this chest.
Just mansplaining.
He's a
Just
mansplainer.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, like, and I don't. But the thing is, I think Letty's good for him because she doesn't have it. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't need to be mansplained, and they have a nice little tension. I know they have tension in this film. I kind of have always wanted to see more like I smell skanks tension, throughout the series, and we don't get a lot of that anymore. It's like a little too lovey-dovey for me at certain points. I want Dom to. It sounds terrible, but like
To wander
a little bit, and Letty be like, smell skanks again. You know, I don't know.
I feel like, so we have the skanks in the first movie, right? And then in Los Bandoleros, when she shows up and he's with the two other women, and then like they disperse and they drive away or whatever, and then they walk into the water, I feel like in that cave she's like, it's them or me. Like I feel like
It's over.
off screen, it's just like this is like
I
that's it.
love that, Joey. I love that take.
We're in paradise right now.
it stops now. The buck
I will
stops
I
here.
will stay here forever. It's me or them. Choose. And he's just like, if it's got it, it's you.
Yeah, don't fuck around anymore, even though you'll like sort of remarry and meet someone when you think I'm dead, but she conveniently goes away. Weird tension with her in this film. What's her name? Elsa Pataki's character? I always forget her name.
Elena.
Yeah.
Weird tension. I mean, I get it. I get where it comes from. At one point, Dom asks if she's okay, and I'm not sure if he's asking if she's okay because like Hobbs is in danger and hurt, or if it's like, are we cool? You know, after what happened, you know, my ex came back, and so
Yeah.
I thought that was fun.
When I was watching it this time, we always talk about mini spoiler for the next movie, but like that Mia is supposed to be pregnant kind of in the next movie, right?
Well, she says it in this movie.
Yeah, I know she says it, but she's like supposed to be
Correct.
pregnant in the next movie. I was thinking, what if Elena?
Was that a mini spoiler about how biology works?
No, character
says
wise,
she's
I was
pregnant
saying
here.
like, what if Elena was like, Elena is pregnant in this movie, right? She has to be.
That's the spoiler.
Yeah.
You just ruined the big thing at 8.
No.
Yeah, you did.
No. It's okay, because I've already listened to all the episodes, so I already know.
That's a good point. Is there really any spoilers?
No, Joe, the entire reveal in 8 is that Dom has a love child with Elena. We don't know that
right
at all.
rip in the beginning.
What? No. You don't know until you're on the plane. She
Yeah, that's
shows
pretty
him the
early.
phone. No, that's like an hour. That's the reveal in 8.
I think there's more to 8 than that, but this I'm saying
Yes,
for the
there's
sake
more
of
to 8 than
conversation.
that, obviously.
I'm saying for the conversation, I'm thinking in this one.
Joe tiptoeing around Mia spoilers, which she says in this movie flat out, and then just drops the actual spoiler for the next movie.
But you get it.
Gave me like
I'm
weird
glad you said it,
feedback.
though. I'm glad because I didn't want to say it, but I'll say it now. Does she know she's pregnant here? And she's kind of, and when Dom's like, everything okay? And she's like, you know what I mean? Is that what she's alluding to when she gives him kind of a lukewarm answer? Like, I'm not sure. You're about to find out.
We think that she's only pregnant in 8 because they wanted to have a storyline where a pregnant Mia, was kidnapped, and they were like, "Oh, we don't want to have her in this movie because Paul's not in the movie. We can't have
Yes.
her without him." And so they're like, "Who else can? Oh, we can have Elena be pregnant."
Oh,
Whatever. Like,
I 100% agree with that. But then I guess you're
so
right.
I don't know that she knows. Like retroactively, she would probably know that she was pregnant
Because it
here.
works well. It works well if you think she's pregnant.
That's what I'm talking. Yeah, I
She
wanted to get to
see-
like
Well, because if she's not pregnant here, that means that she and Dom smash after Letty's back.
yeah, that's what I'm saying,
But,
right? Like,
but according to Letty, is she really back? Is that cheating? If you know,
Yes, it's cheating.
Just joking.
if Letty doesn't remember their marriage,
No, Letty does remember the marriage. Letty tells him about the marriage.
yeah, eventually, but then she didn't beforehand.
What if it happened in this movie? What if like he's like, "Are you okay about Hobbs?" And she's like, "Oh, you know, I'd really like the comfort of one more night with you." And you know, off screen, they consummated, and you know.
And weirdly, Letty let his hall pass be his ex-girlfriend.
Well, honestly, this is going to be a controversial take. She should, because that girl just walked away from a loving relationship for Letty, who didn't even remember she was in a relationship with Dom. So if he was going to have a hall pass, she should be like, all right, you get one more with her, but that's it.
We talked about this on the Fast and Furious 6 episode. Montez's point was so profound
Yes.
that Wes was like, actually, she's right. Like, this is exactly what I agree. And then Joe's like, you know what? She is right.
Yes, that it is like coming together in comfort. What can Letty say? Like, it's a really scummy move, but like, I think Dom can kind of get away with being like, look, I was still banging Elena. You didn't remember that we were married, so like it didn't happen until you tell me we remember. Then like I
Oh
was
God, asshole! You're so right.
right?
Asshole Dom would totally be like, "Listen, you were confusing me. You were saying you didn't remember me. You don't think that hurt my feelings? So when
I needed the comfort of a woman that cares about me.
Oh, toxic Dom.
Who remembered who I was?
Who at least remembered our relationship. Sorry.
Okay, next question: is Dom toxic?
Yeah.
You think? I mean, in this situation, yes. If he's like purposely like tormenting or dragging along these two, yeah, fine. But like,
Dom is an old school, maybe Italian man. You're saying he's not toxic?
Whoa, whoa!
yeah, hey, racism.
You saw the White Lotus.
I did see the White Lotus.
The whole
actually.
point of White Lotus season 2 is, hey, men of all ages are toxic.
That's very true.
I have also seen The White Lotus, and I break down some of my points on one of my other podcasts, Uncle
What is
Francis's
it
Wine
called?
Cellar. So check it out there.
The podcast where you and some of your vino friends.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
One of my vino friends, Mike Manzi, who doesn't drink wine on the show.
Have you tried to convince him to drink wine on the
Yeah.
show?
Every single episode.
Okay.
It doesn't work.
And he just doesn't.
He's like, I'm drinking coffee. He's like, no. I said this to Brian. I thought this was so funny. Mike's like, no, I'm really wired on caffeine right now. I'm drinking Sprite.
Isn't Sprite caffeine free?
Yes, famously
so
caffeine
So
free.
just sugar. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, let me run through my list. We get you brought up Los Bandoleros, Joey, and I'm glad you did. Los Bandoleros was the first time we got to see Vin Diesel's love for the country of my grandparents and my father, and I guess my mother's parents, so grandparents as well, of the Dominican Republic.
Mhm.
It's weird, his love for that country, because he is not Dominican. Michelle Rodriguez is. But he, in this, there's like this little, and I've mentioned it on this pod before, but when we see Romeo Santos, and I named what is his name? I have it up here. Hold on. Mando, this character of Mando. When Mia is hiding out in Dominican Republic and you have Romeo Santos, the king of bachata, he's just like, I'll take care of her, and if anyone messes with her, all of the Dominican Republic is going to help her out. It's very, like, being a Dominican American, it's very weird, this scene. It's cool in a sense, but also like it feels like a commercial for the country, and it's
Okay.
I just think Vin loves to prop up Dominican Republic because he has a home there or whatever. So I think he put it in. Unlike the Abu Dhabi thing, which we know there was financing for, Abu Dhabi and Dubai have this big rivalry. And another podcast you host, Joey, had that. Isn't one of the Mission Impossibles in Dubai?
Yeah, Ghost Protocol.
And I believe, which one came first?
What, between this movie and that movie?
Yeah.
That movie came first.
Yeah, so that's what it was. So when Ghost Protocol featured so prominently in Dubai, I remember reading at the time that Abu Dhabi was pissed, and they were like, "We got to get money in a movie to bring it here." Fast and Furious is a winner, so they paid them a lot to shoot there and do all those scenes there. I mean, I love those scenes, except Ronda Rousey's not great, but
These parties bore me to death.
No, you have to read it like a robot.
These
Like it's like the
parties bore
first
me
thing
to
you've
death.
ever read before. Like on a cue card, very far away.
I would just say both movies. Like, if you're forced to, like, in the '90s, Friends had a whole Pottery Barn episode, but it worked well. If you're forced to do something because someone paid you to do it, I think they did a decent enough job of working it in to the movie pretty well. Like, it does it feel shoehorned in a little bit, but not at a crazy level. This is a movie where they travel to exotic places and drive fancy cars. So it really made sense here. The Dominican thing, again, to me, little shoehorned. We're only there for 2 seconds. Do we go back there? Not really, right? Like, we don't go back to... We have some scenes there, but we don't go back. We don't see this Mando character again, right?
No, like we get to Cuba, so we're in the same sort of general region, but it is weird. Like, I never thought about objectively how weird it is that, like, you're basically doing tourism advertisements for two different companies, where one is because they paid you a lot of money and the other one's just because you love the country.
Also,
Yes, yeah.
Also, low key, Vin's hanging out there. He probably ran into Romeo Santos, like, at a party. He's like, "Yo, you let those other guys in your movie?" and you don't let me, the real King of Bachata, in your movie? He's like, hey, I got a scene for you. We'll write it in. Don't worry about it. And then, like, you know, he wakes up, he sobers up, he's like, fuck. You know, I gotta write this guy into my movie. So it's like, why not, you know? Also, if you have this much control over a movie, you kind of write it in places like Mike White, when he's talking about the White Lotus, he's like, now I just tour locations and then I write the movie. Like,
well, it's the Adam Sandler thing, right? Like, say I'm going to bring my family on vacation to Africa, I'm going to write Blended or whatever, right?
Yes,
so
100%.
So he's like,
I think it's great. I mean, notably, 3 white dudes who do it, but still, you know, power to them.
If I could do that, you tell me I wouldn't
100%,
do that.
absolutely.
Like, yeah, this is like the least morally bad thing I think you can do, as like, be like, you know what, like, look, if I can get free vacations, I'm gonna get free vacations. Like, fuck it.
Okay, list. So, Race Wars. I love, like, when I was in the theater and I saw Race Wars.
I like
again,
any list that starts with Race Wars.
Step 1, Race Wars.
When I saw Race Wars again, I was so excited. I'm like, Hector better be here. And when he was here, I remember being in the theater, be like, "Oh shit!" He takes a punch very well from Letty, and and I don't just mean like physically. He is not pissed off at all, which is amazing. So I just want to give a little clap and shout out to him.
It's a weird scene. Like, they cut away at the weirdest possible time. Like, they're there for a while, but not long enough, and they're also there for too long.
Yes,
it's just like, okay. Like, everybody like laughs and they're like, "Are we still rolling? Like, what?"
I think
I like it, but it's weird.
I think that it would kind of actually play out like that. Like, he respects Dom. He knows that he knows Letty, and it's like the first time he sees her in like years. And I think there'd have to be some whisperings, like, dude, Letty's like...
Yeah, because she's called the Ghost, so they have to know a little bit.
Ghost girl.
Actually, okay, follow up to a previous episode, Joe, your girl Iggy is here. Reports from the OnlyFans front is that the photos on her OnlyFans, I think it's just, maybe there's videos, I don't know, they're tamer than what she tweets out. So if you're paying $25 to get her OnlyFans, apparently it's a disappointment. That's word from the street. I have not, and I will not spend $25 unless someone wants to... No, I'm not. Even if somebody gives me $25, I'm not going to spend it on that. What I've heard, the reports are it's tamer than what she's tweeted.
We were playing Butthole or No Butthole on Iggy Azalea's.
And I said definitely not, and it seems definitely not. But yeah, Brian, do you have other notes? Any other thoughts about
Too many other notes. Sorry. Always love the Lucas Black aging in 30 seconds, 20 years. Yeah. Gotta shout it out. Gotta shout it out.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of the greatest. He's like firmly 45 years old in this.
I mean,
movie.
That's why I had in my notes that he's a fake high school student. There's no way that kid was ever in high school in any of these movies.
Cameron Fry Award.
Cameron Fry Award, indeed. Also, let's say, legend, as like Hunger Games legend here, like that Paul Walker is CGI'd for half the movie.
Oh, a la Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yes. It's amazing that they can get such great CGI on Paul Walker. And Lucas Black still looks 50 years old.
Yeah, using his brother. Yeah, they just spent all the CGI money to make Cody look like Paul. And they were like, Lucas, sorry, you're bald, dude. I don't know what you want me to do about it.
Well, so the good news is that this is like 9 years later, filming 9 years later, and like Brian's saying, it's a week later, right? Like, that's bad. But then when we go to F9. And if he were to return, it's 6 years later, but it's like 10 years later in the universe. Like, they do a little bit of a time jump, so like we're catching up. We're slowly catching up to what Lucas Black looks like, or what he's supposed to look like. Like, it's still not good, but we're getting there.
And to be honest, in 9, he kind of looks the same as he does here.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't look like significantly worse between the two. It's like the jump, like Tokyo Drift is bad. This is real bad. And then 9, you're like, yeah, he looks about the same as he did in 7, so it's okay.
All right, notes. Shout out to Tony Jaa, who's in the film, Thai action star. I remember hearing about this guy. One of my best friends is Thai. He's like, yo, you gotta check out Tony Jaa. What was the movies? Ong Bak, I think they were called.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to shout out him?
Muay Thai warrior, yeah.
The last 3 things I have are questions for you guys.
Okay.
First.
Also, Tony Jaa in XXX Return of Xander Cage.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And Nicolas Cage's Jiu-Jitsu, which is a bad movie. But, yeah, go ahead.
Do you think in 2022, when did this movie come out? 2017?
This one is 2015.
2015, sorry. God's Eye, people were watching it and it blew people's mind. In 2022, does God's Eye 100% exist?
Are you asking 2022 or 2023?
So 2023, sorry, 2023. I forget it's 2023. We're only 1 month in.
Yeah, we're only
No, I just asked a computer what food all over the place looked like, and it drew it for us.
That's a computer that's readily available. I'm talking about a government in this world has God's Eye.
I was thinking about this today. I was just thinking that, like, as I was watching this movie, that I think it's pretty impossible to have one thing that could hack everything, just knowing that, like, they're not all made by one thing. So I'm sure that there is, like, you know, we have the English, like the cameras all over England and stuff like that. And I'm sure somebody has access to that probably shouldn't have access to that.
Well, all it takes is a handshake. We literally see Hobbs shake someone down to get access to that, right? So
that, but yes, fair. But I'm saying, like, to control everything, it's just too global. It reminded me of, like, when people were like, they have a cure for cancer and they're just hiding it from you. And it's like, well, it's very complicated. So,
but
no.
Some element of this does exist. On the God's Eye level, like, oh, no, it's going to take us 5 minutes to find this person. No. But
no.
Think about what...
I mean, it's the same tech they showed off in The Dark Knight 7 years earlier.
Very true.
And the other thing is, like, we just had that Drake concert in New York where, like, the cops were just, like, videotaping everybody as they were leaving.
Is there another... Let's say they don't end at 10 or 11 or whatever it is. Could another Fast and Furious film just be called Furious something, like Furious 13?
Yeah.
You think there's an avenue for that?
Well, like, you know, the new Scream that came out last year is just called Scream. They just they're putting out Forza Motorsport. Like, things are just getting renamed. And then, like, so there was Scream last year, now there's Scream 6. So there was never a Scream 5. Like, names can just be whatever. Like, they could just call another one The Fast and the Furious. Like, there's already one. Just like, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Also, this franchise, come on, names are the least.
I really want them, now that Brian brought this up and you guys were just talking about it, I really want them to skip a number. I think that will be such a good play. Like, with the naming titles being so stupid, like the convention of it, like, we should just go straight to, like, 12, right?
I mean,
like,
I'm honestly surprised. I think that they were gonna do this, and I think they got they either chickened out or got bullied out of it. But I think they wanted to call one Fast. I think it was gonna be Fast 5 was gonna be Fast.
Yes.
And then Fast and Furious 6, I think it was just gonna be called Furious. And
Yes.
then they didn't let them do that. But, like, I'm surprised that still hasn't happened.
That's a good point.
We're close with Fast X. It's not that far off.
No,
but it's also 10. I know.
yeah, but like, we need to go straight from, like, 10 to, like, 12, right? Like, that only makes sense now.
You don't want there to be an 11th movie that's called something else. We never have an 11. You just want them to actually just straight up skip the number 11.
Yeah, just for no reason. And, like, everybody be like, did we miss Fast and Furious 11? Like, this one says it's the 12th one. Like, are we missing one? They're like, oh, no. They just, like, somehow started counting Hobbs and Shaw in it, but didn't number that one, but then didn't number this one.
So I noticed that Hobbs refers to women as woman or women,
Yes.
and men as boys. Does that make Hobbs a feminist?
Well, let's ask the woman. Montez?
I would not appreciate someone just walking up to me and being like, woman.
Oh, I do it all the time, actually.
Well, you say lady, which is
That's definitely not
more
yeah.
delicate.
Totally
It's-
different.
Yeah, that's different. Like, I'll say woman to Rachel in jest, but
But
yeah,
you're also
right.
married to her. Like,
Yeah.
that's...
And that's, are you saying that's his right as a married man to just...
No, I'm just saying
I
that
have
there's history
jurisdiction
there.
over the...
Because he's like, I respect your womanhood, and yet
Or you
you,
say-
boy, I don't.
Well, okay. Let's flip this on its head. Suki saying "bend over, boy." Like, is that what do we think of that?
I believe that is empowering. So yes.
Yeah, okay, I agree. I don't have a point there. I was just trying to think of. You said "boy," and I'm like, "Bend,
Bend
over,
over,
boy." Okay.
boy. I'm gonna get that tattooed to myself. Wait, no. People are gonna
that
out of
would-
context.
You should
very, yeah.
you should get "bend over, boy" tattooed, and then when you bend over, it somehow visually transforms into saying, "Oh shit, it's Brian."
Oh shit, it's Brian. Yeah.
Like one of those, it reads upside down.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing a handstand, it says, "Oh shit, it's Brian."
Right. Well, that's all I got.
Joe, do you have any other notes?
No, I said all mine as I went through for sure.
I still think the funniest thing in this movie is Mr. Nobody shit talking Dom's team to Dom in front of the team.
Oh yeah,
You know, I
these
was
guys are
impressed by
idiots.
what you've done, but now that I've met your team, I'm even more impressed. It's just like, yeah, they're terrible at their jobs.
Yeah, he's like, I thought maybe you guys were like actually good at this, and you're not. Dom's just like carrying the whole fucking team here, and he just like gives you shit to do. So
It's a group project.
it is. It is a group project where Dom's the only one that cares about the grade. He's the only one taking it, not pass
He's
fail.
the me. Yes, he's the me of the group.
How do you, sorry for another question, but how do you think Mr. Nobody got them all there?
Well, he says, I have a note. I took this note here. Him saying, by the way, I can get you Deckard Shaw, gets Dom, and Dom gets the rest of them. And that's the same way that when they're in Rio and Roman's like, man, I'm out. This is too crazy. You know, business thing or personally good business. And then Dom says, what we're talking about is $100 million. It's the same thing. It's just like a single sentence. Hooked, done.
Yeah, they'll do anything that Dom asks of them. So
Yeah.
they just need Dom.
My only other note here is that I think, and I don't think they do enough with this, but I think basically Letty starting this movie by saying this is all too much, like her, like, I can't do this, like, this is too much, this is too weird, I'm not ready for this yet. Like, they kind of do it throughout, but I think it's a really powerful way to start. And I don't think that they really, like, I almost wonder if this was going to be more of a Letty movie and then it became the Brian movie. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like this was supposed to be the one where, like, she's being reintegrated into the family. It's too much, doesn't remember them. Her memory's not back yet. And then they're like, oh, well, Paul died, so we got to make the Brian. But, like, I feel like in the first 10 or so minutes when she's just like, I can't do this. Like, that's a really kind of heavy emotional moment in, like, a summer blockbuster action flick.
And they come around full circle too, because like at the end she gets her resolution. So like I can definitely see what you're saying. I've never thought about it before, but you very much well might be right.
Anybody else have any other thoughts, or you want to play the one game? Because we're going to skip the other game because we're running long. But
Go ahead.
any other thoughts, any other notes about anything? Brian, Montez, Joe.
No, I'm good.
What game are we playing?
This ain't no 10-second race, a.k.a. boy, do we have a podcast
Okay,
for
good,
you.
good.
Boy, do we have a podcast for you. Come and check out our show. Yeah.
So this is where we go on twitter.com, a.k.a. the Bird app, and we find any tweet from anyone about anything and respond to them from Too Fast, Too Forever on Twitter and get them to watch the show. So I'm going to reflect on last episode's picks, which was the Tokyo Drift episode. I found Louis Rabinowitz at Louis Rabinowitz. Looking ahead to Tokyo Drift for my newsletters, and I'm struggling to get over the hump of Bow Wow is Twinkie, and then he went into the whole Zendaya is Michi, and I explained that to Joe. Joe, did you ever watch that video? I sent you the video. Did you ever watch that video?
I think so.
Nope, still a no.
I think I did at the
explained
time.
it to you.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm remembering then.
You got to watch it because Gabe Gundacker is great, and I also sent you the Wii Sports themes he made, but they're very fantastic videos. I said the best name and casting in the franchise. We can't wait to read your newsletters, trying to pander. Boy, do we have a podcast for you. And he did not care. 0 points for me. Joe, you found...
Oh my god, I have like the greatest tweet of all time for this week.
Hold on.
Okay.
We might have had... Dude.
What?
You tweeted at someone, Blue Maziahist.
Okay.
We said we love Tokyo Drift. You're unable to view this tweet because the account owner limits who can view their tweets. We got blocked. This is the first time in a while, Joe. We got blocked by this woman.
They blocked us, but their account still exists?
Still exists. We were blocked.
Oh, okay. Good.
So 0 points for
I think
you.
that should count as a point.
No, I mean it's a different kind of point, but
They were
game points.
that's an action. I caused them to do an action.
Montez found Let Gino Cook at Herb_Dean. Hashtag Avatar, The Way of Water was solid. If I had to score on a scale of Tokyo Drift to Fast 5, I'd probably say it was Fast and Furious. We said 10 out of 10. A boy of a podcast for you. And Montez, Let Gino Cook liked it. Montez, you get a point.
Yay!
Montez, you are up to 12 points. I will say, Brian, do you know your point total in this game?
0. I'm pretty sure I know.
It is 0. 0 points. 0 points. You are spot on with that. Still 0 points for Brian. Late night slumber party. Rodriguez, I have a tweet. Do any of you have a tweet?
I do. Mine's
Yes.
good though. Go
have-
ahead.
All right.
Go ahead, Montez.
I have many.
Yeah.
Montez, hit us with your tweet, please, and thank you.
Okay, so this is at
Oh my God! Fuck,
Wait.
Montez, that's my tweet.
No.
This has never happened before. This has never happened
Really?
before.
Yeah, but
Yeah, she found the exact tweet I
Montez said
found.
it first. You got to find something else.
But this is also, although I said early in the episode, the tweet that I found is going to be something we talk about. So technically I found it first, but Montez,
You can play as a team, but you have to split points.
that's fine, because I have a really good response to this. But because Montez also doesn't do responses.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair.
I'm gonna let. Okay, so since we found the same one and this has never happened before, I'm gonna let you take it and I'm gonna let you respond.
Okay.
You don't want to split? You can play as a team.
No, I'm gonna give him this one.
Okay.
Well, Brian has 3.
I'm playing.
He
I'm
likes to
playing
play for charity.
2 for charity. So
You're so.
I think
you're so
charity won
generous.
once. I believe-
Charity did
Charity-
get you a
Charity
couple
has
points
one.
once.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got more points from Charity. Yeah, you definitely did.
But we send them the
Community
turbos for
chest.
tots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Montez and I both found Court Eisman, Iseman, at Court Eisman on Twitter.
Okay.
Court says, we don't talk enough about the fact that in Furious 7, Kurt Russell used what could have possibly been last words to try to convince Dom to switch from Coronas to Belgian beer. And there's a screenshot of Kurt saying, try that Belgian ale, man.
I like
So
it.
I love this because we have talked about this scene so many times, and we've talked about how this was going to be like maybe like a, hey, blank is still alive. Hey, I'm your father. Hey, any number of serious things. And they're like, we can't have this be a serious moment because Paul just died. We need to have this be a jokey thing. We're going to have it be about beer. And we have talked about this scene probably 5 or 6 different times. So when I saw Court tweet about it, and then Montez saw the same thing in it, so I think this is great. So
Beautiful. I love
shout
it.
out Montez.
What's your reply?
I'm going to say something along the lines of like, we have so many theories about the scene. We have talked about it so many times. We're right there with you. Boy, do we have a podcast for you.
Listen, I just want to make sure we all are aware. This is also the scene where we talk about health insurance.
Yeah,
It
Montez
is.
pulled it for a different reason altogether. But
Can I go next for the fear that Brian might have my tweet?
Brian does not have your tweet.
Okay, good. Okay, then
Oh, Brian, I like your final one. But yes, please, Joe, hit us with yours.
mine is from Lyra Esquire is not Daredevil at Pink Ranger LB. She says, you see, this new book revisits the events of the first Twilight novel, but instead of being from the perspective of Bella, it is told from the perspective of Dominic Toretto from the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Ooh.
Be like, Lyra, you have no idea how much we actually have a podcast for you. Because if there's 2 things we love, it's Twilight and Fast and the Furious.
Nice.
But I was actually looking for something about what books Dom would read, and I found that, and I was like, oh, that's too good.
All right, Brian, charity number 1, Brian, charity number 2, and Brian, are you
No.
you doing them?
The first one is Brian.
The one from Julia is yours.
Yes. So the first tweet.
Oh my God,
What?
Brian,
I-
this is so good.
Oh,
It's
Julia
so good.
Monet. Yes. Oh no, I know. So Julia Monet at Julia Kale says no need.
Also, but before you say that, say when it's from.
It is from April 4th, 2015.
When this movie came out.
Right when the movie came out, only 2 likes, and it says, Nonice Denise is my favorite Bond girl. Great name for a Bond girl. I guess, boy, do we have a podcast for you, because I think that's an awesome name for a Bond girl. I can't wait to rock this girl's world by getting a response from this long ago. That's how long Twitter's been out there.
We've got Pussy Galore, Miss Mary Goodnight, No Knees Denise.
It's amazing.
All right, and that's me playing. I want to score some points here, so hopefully...
What's also funny is that this is an 8-year-old tweet, right? We liked it, retweeted, we retweeted it, we replied to it. I guarantee you that people who follow us are going to like this tweet, and still Julia is not going to respond to it because
Oh,
like,
yeah.
the more we dig up like an old tweet that is like perfect for our audience, the less likely they give a shit at all.
We'll see. Challenge accepted. All right, this is my true charity tweet. This is from someone named Matt, the unique name Matt, at M Hack. How did T-Pain only manage to get credited as DJ in Furious 7? It says T-Pain all over his laptop. Poor dude. Sad face. April 23rd, 2015.
He only got credited as DJ. It says T-Pain all over his computer.
I also want to say there is another DJ in this movie.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Michael Moser just liked all the tweets we've retweeted. So, like, these people are getting alerts that not only are we doing it, but, like, other people are, and they're not going to respond. But anyway, okay, how do you want to respond to Matt at MHack?
I hope they at least bought him a drank. DRANK. It's an allusion to one of T-Pain's popular songs.
Yes,
Buy you a
yes.
drink. Boy, do we have a podcast for you. And then this last one is just in honor of Joey for his love for AI and the Fast and
Yes.
Furious series. It is from Georgie Letarski at Letarch. At Elon Musk, here are some Tesla Model 3s. If they were part of a Fast and Furious movie, ! Generated by #AI, #Midjourney.
What I love about the first picture is that front right tire is beyond fucked.
Nice.
It is crumpled inward in a way that, like, catastrophically damaged.
So hopefully Elon Musk replies to this one.
So how do you want to, this is from this past week, so how do you want to respond to Georgie and also maybe Elon? Because we're responding to both.
Ooh, I don't know. I was going to ask you, Joey, as the AI expert.
If Elon replies, Brian, I will give you $1,000.
Oh, you heard it here, even though you could edit this
did.
out.
Because you do, no. I'm not going to edit it out because, like, if he replies, either the podcast ends or we become the #1 podcast for at least a day.
Like, yeah, the traffic, like, the cage coverage, just the whole network's website is just going to shut down.
Look, I'm not the biggest Elon Musk fan, but
No, Joe is. Keep going.
why don't we just kiss his,
I am?
why don't we just kiss his ass a little bit? Why don't we be like,
Well, okay, yeah, go ahead.
wow, Elon, how have you not been in a Fast and Furious movie yet?
Oh. as huge as Soul Popped is a huge fan of yours. How have you not been in Fast and Furious movie?
What I want to do is I want to screenshot his IMDb where it's. Do you know the characters he's played? Iron Man 2,
yeah,
Elon
Iron Man.
Musk.
Yep.
Machete Kills, Elon Musk. The Simpsons, Elon Musk. The Big Bang Theory, Elon Musk. South Park, Elon Musk. Why Him, Elon Musk. Young Sheldon, Elon Musk. Men in Black International, Alien on TV Monitor.
Why Him
Rick
is
and
a
Morty,
good movie, by
Elon,
the way.
Elon
Like,
Tusk
stupid.
on Rick and Morty.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a picture of this. Like, with your range, you'd be perfect.
yeah, that's good.
With your character
That's
range,
good.
you'd be perfect.
And you're kind of not wrong.
It's honestly surprising. Like, Vin must just hate him or something. Like, there's no reason a car guy like him and somebody who, like, wants to be loved would not be in these movies unless the movies did not want him in them.
Could Elon Musk, and put your thoughts about him aside, if you gave Elon Musk the script to Ronda Rousey's role today, not the fighting
Yes.
scenes, could he have read it at least equally?
I think so. Better. I mean, we saw his like SNL like dialogue, so like monologue. Sorry, at the beginning, and like that was he did decent. So he could do at least as good as her. I think.
Ooh, I think we got a hot one today with all these tweets. I think there's some good tweets here.
I'd say, Elon, how have you not been in a Fast and Furious movie yet? You'd be perfect as your favorite character, Elon Musk. Boy, do a podcast for you. Podcast and film franchise for you.
Perfect.
I hope you guys get blocked.
Or banned.
Banned, yeah. What am I saying? Banned.
Well, I think maybe our most successful game ever. We have never, I mean, we don't play this game every time, but we have never in the 277 episodes, however many times, like, 150 times we played this game, we thought we were going to find the same tweet. History made tonight.
That was pretty incredible. I don't think I'd ever thought it too, because there's good jillions of tweets. So
I think I just searched Furious 7 too. Like, I don't think it was like a very generic tweet, and Montez just like, health insurance, Furious 7. Nothing's coming up. I wonder why. I'm insane.
Go to
Well,
the doctor, people.
Go to the doctor. Get your damn flu shot. Anyway, thank you both so much for joining us. Montez, we'll let you go first because I think the answer is going to be no. Is there anything that you want to plug? Ooh, the answer may be yes.
I was gonna make a health insurance joke.
Go for it.
Oh, nice, you can.
You know everything's really. We also know how good you are at telling stories and landing jokes.
Oh God,
Flava Flav.
Yes. Nope. I'm good. Thank
Cool.
you.
All right, Montez, you'll be back in 3 weeks for the Fate of the Furious, a movie that Joe in no way spoiled tonight.
Not at all. Not in the least.
Brian, what would you like to plug to our listeners? They know a lot of things about you. Maybe too much, arguably too much. But what might they not know?
What don't they know? I don't know.
I don't know.
That's so I can't plug my podcast. I have to just.
You can plug your podcast.
Tell us a
Absolutely.
deep, dark secret.
Ooh, I was like, what should I reveal today?
What were you like in high school?
Oof, that's not a deep, dark secret. Well, it kind of is. I don't really divulge that too much. But you can check out my main podcast, High School Slumber Party. We are back and at it. And Joey, you are on our first episode of the year, which was 2022 review of films part 1. I don't know what it's called, but we watched all the films of 2022 that revolved around teens or high schoolers, and we recommended to you essentially if you might want to see them or not. And Joey, you helped out by watching a lot of the films that Aislinn and I did not want to watch, honestly. So check that out, like Avatar and some other stuff. Also, check out my other show that's rocking and rolling, Uncle Francis's Wine Cellar, which Joey, you technically don't know about, but Mike and I have been in the Cage Club wine cellar, drinking wine and talking the films of Francis Ford Coppola. All cuts involved, all Coppola-related things. We're having a blast there. And by the way, if anyone is interested in sponsoring us, we are open to a cannoli sponsorship on Uncle Francis's Wine Cellar, as well as a pizza sponsorship. And according to Mike Manzi, a hotel sponsorship as well. If the Four Seasons wants to sponsor us, we're open to that too. But any kind of sponsorship we're open to. We're not like this show who gets sponsored every week. We're a fledgling program looking for Coppola-themed sponsorship. So check that out wherever you get your podcasts as well.
Brian, you know you're allowed in the wine cellar as long as you don't touch my stuff, right?
Well, not that.
Does
We'll
touching
see.
include putting your balls on it, or
Woo, woo.
They don't mention that in the opening to literally every episode, but maybe.
Yeah, literally every episode begins. And again, if you just want to listen to the beginning, well, listen to the whole thing. But theoretically, every episode begins with just a pre-recorded thing of like me essentially being like, oh, what's that room? Or like, it's just like, oh, wow, this is the Cage Club headquarters? I don't remember exactly. And Mike is like, Joey doesn't let you touch his stuff. And then I go,
Doesn't like when you touch his stuff.
like when you touch his stuff. And then I go, what's this room? And then the Godfather music plays and we enter the wine cellar. And that's the show. Mike Manzi will admit, and Mike Manzi's been on this podcast a lot, so y'all should know him. He will admit that's the show that he's loosest on. That's the show that he just lets it fly.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
ooh, After Hours.
After Dark. Well, speaking of After Dark, we have next week, well, not After Dark next week, but next week we are doing The Last Witch Hunter with Mark Hoffmeyer, Vin Diesel pit stop. Then we're doing a bonus episode for the main feed, the Fast X trailer review. So we're very exciting. Remember, as a reminder to you, the listener, if you want to share your thoughts on the trailer, basically as soon as it drops, watch it, then email us because we're going to record almost immediately.
Yep.
So if you want us to read that email on that episode, get it in almost as soon as you possibly can. Otherwise, we'll just read on the next Life in the Fast Lane. After that, we're doing a bonus episode, The First Purge, which is Justin Kleiman's patron
Which
pick.
I'm stoked for. I like Purge movies. So.
And then there might be another bonus episode with somebody you heard tonight. I'm not going to say what or when, but if you're a detective, if you're as good a detective as Dominic Toretto in the fourth film, you might know what we're going to do. But just I'm not going to say more than that.
Okay.
And then we got a Life in the Fast Lane, number 7 for minute 82. That's action-packed. 3 weeks coming up here.
Yes.
And then back with Montez for the Fate of the Furious. But lots of good stuff coming up on Too Fast, Too Forever. For all things Too Fast, Too Forever, go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFastTooForever, or at Too Fast, Too Forever on Twitter and Instagram. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Check out our Patreon page at TooFastTooForever.com for those mid-journey things behind the Hernan Reyes tiered paywall. Store over on TeePublic at Too Fast Too Forever, Twitter, Instagram. I screwed myself up. Anyway, you know how to get in touch with us. You've heard this 277 times. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too.
That was Jessica Collins, aka Montez, and Brian Uncle Francis Rodriguez, and we will tell you all about it.
I'm a nephew. Sorry.
Shut
Yeah,
up.
nephew.